In this video, we're going to cover a little bit of the details used to make the round column using the Revolve tool. Here is the profile that we will create. There aren't many dimensions on it, so you're kind of free to do something like this general shape. The only control you have is that somewhere between here is 13 feet and inches. Going to our book, this is using massing and family tools. These are our learning objectives. Today we are going to understand the concept of massing, and we're going to create conceptual massing in a conceptual design environment, and that will be focused on the column. Let's go to the column and see some of those tools. Massing is a conceptual tool. You have three environments you operate in. You could be in the family editor, the conceptual design, and of course a project. We are in a family editor, and the file that you'll pick up for this is the generic default that is located on the module link on the page. We're focusing our attention on the ribbon for create, forms, and extrusion, but we will be using the Revolve tool. Let's take a look at the opening paragraph. This particular ebook has a different example than our column that's shown in our book, but the instructions for the first part are the same. In the Draw panel, the boundary line is chosen by default. As a result, various sketching tools used to sketch the profile of revolved geometry are displayed, and before invoking any of the sketching tools, you need to set the work plane. To do so, you go to the Create tab. They're not showing a picture of it, but we'll go to ours, and then choose Set Tool from the Work Plane panel. Jumping back to 13.4, the round column, this is our goal. We're going to take this profile and create this column. And we're going to pick up this particular file, generic model start. While that loads, I want to talk a little bit about there are columns and then there are pilasters. Pilaster is a half column that has a wall backing, and the column is fully round 360, so this is a 180. So we can easily make, once we master columns, we can easily make pilasters. And pilasters are usually decorative, and they give the illusion of providing support, and so they continue what the column has set up. However, I just noticed in this picture, someone's got structure. So looks like in the modern era, that is not necessarily true. It may also contain a structural element embedded in both the wall and the pilaster. But let's focus on our column. And here's what you get when you open up the generic. Looks like I still have some of my little leftover parts, so I'll erase those very quickly. And this is the same setup that we had for the Art Deco column, and we're going to use the same kind of process. I've gone ahead and I've kind of sketched up what I believe to be is the measurements or lack of measurements from page 10-7, and I have an object like this. Now, the special hint is, again, I always like to work with my own sketch tools, and this goes way back to hand drafting, before I start using the more powerful Revolve tool. So now that I have something to work with, then I can go ahead and let's practice setting our drawing. So we're going to go to the Create tab, second in line, Create. We're going to go over here to set the work plane. And once we choose it, we will keep the front and back. That worked so well for us in that last column, so we'll keep that. And I select it, and now it's ready to go. The next tool that we'll choose will be the Revolve tool. Now that I have this sketched out, I have something I can just aim for, because once you choose Revolve, I've only had luck when I make sure that the chain is working, and I have not been able to come back and edit. So now that I have an underlay, I'm going to go ahead and pick the parts and just follow as if I were making a roof. Do have a little bend here. and keep on going all the way around to make sure I have that enclosure. And it says so, and I will check it. And then I will come back and it says I will need to add the axis line. So that's the next thing I will do is create a axis line. And that's the center of movement. And I do have a little, I'll use the middle line here. It's the center of movement around which this will revolve. So I'll choose that. And then I'll say, and that looks like I can go, and we'll say go. And it has revolved this around. This is the flat form from the back face that we're looking at, but we'll also take a look using the 3D view, see what we got. Perfect. Looks like a sewing spool or something. But we know that it's a column, and we can apply our shading and consistent colors, and we can add materials to it. So this is one version. Let's try one, see if we can go backwards and create a pilaster. Okay, I've stepped back to the original form, and this time I'm going to try and make a pilaster. I'm going to go to create, revolve, and here's where I'm going to alter this to do 180, and then I'm going to begin. First process is to make that continuous. Make sure I got my small piece in here. This is going to give me a little profile cut. This is where you can start to alter the shape, and you can create some new kinds of columns. I'll accept that and add to it, and it's just letting me, I like to push this just because it locks it in, but I know it likes to register that mistake. Then I'll do my axis line, choose my pre-given there, accept that, and rotate. It looks, for all purposes, it looks like the last one. Now we're going to go to 3D. Perfect. So if I come around, I can set this up against the wall, and I even have room for a steel beam column in there if I choose. So just a little recap of what we've done is, first I like to just draw out the shape so that I can go without thinking and just to create my continuous line, making sure that the chain tool is chosen. Then you have to also, prior to that, is have the set tool from the work plane, and that's set, and then you're setting a view with that. Other shapes that you can achieve, right? Once you get the hang of this, you can create a profile, make sure it's enclosed, and then rotate it about an axis. Now, in our drawing, the axis was offset, so we had a hollow. But if you butt it right up against the profile, it's continuous shape. So you have a potential here to make domes, which are popular in architecture. And there are other tools among them, including the sweep, but this will satisfy our massing adventures for this week.